For the Flick riff etude, I don't know why, I put the guitar in open G. Maybe it's because I'm playing a Telecaster, it just made me want to. But open G is a really cool thing to use in general, and then with this kind of flick technique, the open G chord forms, it just kind of led to this etude, so it's a fun one. Now watch out, you know, it's not going to look normal, but we're going to walk through it. You know, in open G, just so you know, your starting point is actually the A string, so that's G, D, G, B, D. Keith tends to clip off that low E string and not even use it. I like to bring it down to a D. So it makes it so your 1, 4, 5 chords, just so you know, are G. You tend to, again, put the 4 chord, the C chord, over the G. See that? That's a 1 and a 2 there. So it actually looks kind of like a C. Your 5 chord looks like this, the D. I think I also put an A minor, which, yeah, you'll hear in Wild Horses. Yeah, so this is a Stones style etude. Yeah, it's definitely got some Rolling Stones energy, like half tempo though. But I'm gonna be using that flick to kind of get that snappy sound going. Now the actual change is, it's gonna drop in actually with the G7, which in open G tuning is pretty cool. You can see it's a 3 and a 3 there, and then to that C over G, and then open. But I am going to be doing some flicking with that. It's going to do that twice, and then it's going to do an A minor to a D, and the G to a C, and then there's one special surprise chord in there, E flat add 9. Yeah, I just love how, yeah, open tunings are, yeah, I'll do a whole separate course on open tunings, but they're yet another interesting thing that is a subtle, different approach to the instrument that I think yields huge results. But let's check out the etude. All right, so we're gonna come in there with a G7. Again, in open tuning, it's just so cool. Again, we are in an open G tuning, G, B, D, B, D, and that's also a low D. And so we're gonna use, again, the thumb to get that low tone, and I am palm muted. Now the thing that you'll see me doing this is I'm going to do a flick, and then a come back, and then a catch. Question, let's see, could I do this just as effectively with a pick? Maybe, maybe not. It's not the same. Not the same aggression. You know what it is? It creates more imbalance between the two tones when it's a thumb and a nail, because a thumb is so soft sounding and the nail, so it's a way to have a more dynamic chord attack. C over G, which again in open tuning. So cool. I used to play in a Stones cover band. So let's go again from the G7. C over G. See, I'm grabbing this B natural here, you know. Again, this hand is all about what's happening over here. Once you get this and it feels comfortable, it feels very comfortable. It feels very natural. Just, yeah, like you're just tapping your thumb, tapping your fingers. Okay, so the whole passage there for that first section. Twice. Octaves. That's an octave because, well, that's a B and a B, because I know I'm going down to this A minor chord. So cool in open tuning. You know, we're used to doing this for A minor, but because of the open tuning, we have to bring in this tone as well. So yeah, that's a little strange, but because of the open tuning, we have a D up on top. So really that creates like a A minor 11. Looking for that 5 chord, the D. Check that out, so O to O. Big D power chord, there's not a third there. And then back to the G. And yeah, you notice I'll put that melody there. See? This time when I go up to the C, you see that I went up to here. Okay, but anyway. Because I know I'm getting to this E flat, add 9. Which you can hear, that's what I call a surprise chord, which is a chord that's not really in this key, but I've talked about this in a variety of my other courses, maybe Playing the Changes. I talk about this a little bit more, that when you're writing a song, you have the main key, for example, this is the key of G, and the chords that are available in the key of G coming at you down this way. But you're allowed to borrow from G minor, which could be over here, and that's where that E flat came from. You do, yoink, boop, and you drop them in. And it creates, you can hear, it creates this new, a little bit of darkness because we're borrowing a chord from the minor key. So cool, yeah. I put that tone in, which is the 9th of it. You know, that is, yeah, that's an F natural. And that again is coming from studying Keith Richards, because Keith was so cool, is so cool, about thinking about, you know, this is his, you know, we consider this his tuning at this point. If my hand's here, like what happens with the fingers in front? And so many of those iconic Stones riffs, you know, are playing around with that, you know. But anyway, that's why I put that note there. When I finally get back to the G, I just made it a big G power chord by turning that into a G. That's no longer the B, that's a D now. And I just used index finger to just... So cool.